Good morning, everyone. Let us invite and feel the presence of God through these songs. God bless us all. Salamat
sa silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisiil. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bukaw, may nilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislat ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you, PPA Coral, and of course, the Philippine Coast Guard. You may now take your seats. As the summit unfolds, we would like to acknowledge the presence of our guests, government officials, shipping operators, maritime educators, professionals, administrators, and industry leaders alike. First, we have Vice Admiral Narciso A. Vingson Jr., Officer in Charge, Administrator, Maritime Industry Authority. We also have Attorney J. Daniel R. Santiago, General Manager, Philippine Ports Authority. Rear Admiral Leopoldo V. Laroya, PCG, Commander, Maritime Safety Services Command, Philippine Coast Guard. Of course, we have from the Philippine Coastwise Shipping Association, their chairman, Mr. Lucio Lim Jr. Of course, with their president, Mr. Paul Rodriguez. We also have from the Boating Industry Association of the Philippines, their president, Engineer Eugene Sopangan. In the Society of Naval Architects and Marine Engineers, SONAME President, Engineer Jerome Manuel. We have with us their chairman, Engineer Samuel Lim. From the Shipyard Association of the Philippines, President Mr. Menileo Carlos III. And the Philippine Inter-Island Shipping Association, we have Attorney Rexter C. Tupas. From the Philippine Liner Shipping Association, we have President Mr. Mark Matthew Parco. Thank you, Mr. Park. We also have representatives from the Metro Manila Shipyard Association. Next, we have also from the Maritime Industry Authority, Deputy Administrator for Operations, Ma'am Nanette C. Villamor Dinopol. And from the Philippine Ports Authority, Department Manager Lillian T. Javier. From the Philippine Coast Guard, CGETC Captain Winchester C. Florentino. Do we have, sir? From the Philippine Coast Guard, Commodore Leovigildo G. Panopio. And then we also have from the Department of Transportation, ASEC Lino H. Dabi. From the Philippine Coast Guard, CGA Commander Benji S. Kinisio. Sir Benji. And from the Development Bank of the Philippines, Senior Vice President, Mr. Paul D. Lazaro. From the Philippine Liner Shipping Association, we have Engineer Apollo Santos. Of course, from the Maritime Industry Authority, our Deputy Administrator for Planning, Mr. Arsenio F. Linga II. And from the Philippine Ports Authority, Assistant General Manager for Operations, Mr. Hector E. Miole. From the Philippine Coast Guard, we have Captain Gary Dale C. Gimotea, CGDNCR Central Luzon. We also have Lieutenant Commander Eliseo S. Mortillero from the Philippine Coast Guard. We have Lieutenant Commander Leila A. Tatel, CG-14. From Montenegro Shipping Lines, we have Mr. Vicente C. Montenegro, Jr. And from Orient Class Register of Shipping, their Executive Vice President and COO, Mr. Juan Miguel Gonzalez. Next in line, we have from NARA Crewing and Ship Management Corporation, Captain Rogelio M. Navarro, their president. From the Philippine Coastwise Shipping Association, Vice President for Cargo Operations, Mr. Benson Igo. From Preeminent Shipping and Management Corporation, President General Manager, Engineer Florentino R. Garcia. And the last but not the least, the President of IG Tronqued Boats and Allied Industries Incorporated, we have Mr. Marco T. Tronqued. Okay, thank you very much. At this moment, we would like to call a person who has not slowed down and will never slow down when it comes to maritime safety, marine environment protection, and maritime security. Please join me in welcoming Marina's OIC Administrator, Vice Admiral Narciso A. Vingson Jr. for the opening remarks. A warm up applause, please.
The Honorable Secretary of Transportation, Arthur P. Tugade, industry leaders, key players, fellow servants in the government service, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my true honor to welcome all of you to the Maritime Safety Summit for Domestic Shipping with the theme, Creating a Culture of Safer People, Safer Ship, and Cleaner Environment. This has been our battle cry, our greatest aspiration for the Philippine domestic shipping industry. Despite various challenges, the Philippine maritime sector takes pride in complying with the international maritime standards concerning manpower, safety and security, and environmental protection. The country boasts itself on the world maritime map as the leading source of seafarers, fourth largest shipbuilding nation, and always in the top 10 fish producing nation in the world. Numbers speak of the notable contribution of maritime sector to the national economy, as it increased significantly since 2010 in terms of sea vessels manufactured locally, passengers transported, goods traded, jobs created, and remittances generated. This 2019 and beyond, we are bound to do more and better than this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have formulated together the Maritime Industry Development Plan, a milestone that outlines our dreams for the entire maritime industry. And that is to achieve a nationally integrated and globally competitive Philippine maritime industry by 2028 and beyond. Allow me to emphasize the concept of nationally integrated maritime industry. It is the effective integration of all key stakeholders, policies, plans, and programs, operations, and resources in terms of geographical, spatial, functional, and institutional dimensions. This only means that everything we, the government, are aiming for can only be fully achieved through our teamwork. And so, as we all agree that the backbone of the maritime industry is the maritime transport, and that the very heart of maritime transport is safety and security, I expect that we are all sailing towards one direction in upholding this. As champions of the domestic shipping in the country, we all play a very significant role in ensuring that people, goods, and cargoes are transported safely, securely, and on time, without sacrificing our maritime resources in the process. In every day of our work, I believe we all see the same pattern, the same need, and the same call to modernize and change our ways to ensure that our ships remain seaworthy at all times. For the last 2 months, major maritime incidents occurred all over the country by both wooden-hulled and steel-hulled ships. We grieve over the many lives who were lost, property is gone, and investment come to nothing. The accident that preluded this summit underscored the urgency for that action. Truly, I appreciate all you who participated in the pre-summit workshop that we conducted in Manila, Cebu, and Davao. Your participation is manifestation of your willingness to come together to strengthen our stance in the maritime safety, security, and environmental protection. So we allow to thank all of you for your continued support to the maritime industry. We, your maritime agencies, MARINA, PCG, and PPA, with the strong support of the Department of Transportation, will do whatever we can within the scope of our mandate to steer and propel the industry to global competitiveness. Let us continue to talk and act together for the growth and development of our maritime industry, one that is safe, efficient, and modern, one that upholds a culture of safer people, safer ships, and cleaner environment, one that we, the Filipino people, can truly be proud of. Once again, welcome to the Maritime Safety Summit. Mabuhay ang pambansang industriya maritima.
Thank you very much, sir. Before we proceed to the next part of our program, of course, we would like to acknowledge the presence of Attorney J. Alcantara from the Department of Foreign Affairs, sir. And from Marino Party-list, Mr. Robin Lucas. Thank you po. Ladies and gentlemen, may we now proceed to the second part of the program to present an exciting update from the Philippine Ports Authority entitled One Ticketing System. Let us all welcome Ms. Lilian T. Javier, Manager of Port Operations and Service Department.
Our Honorable DOTr Secretary, our distinguished guests and heads of government agencies, maritime stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to present a proposal of the Philippine Ports Authority entitled One Ticketing System. My presentation will comprise of, next slide please, will comprise of the introduction, objectives, scope, benefits, the present system, and the proposed system. Next slide please. Okay. As a background, just recently, the International Maritime Organization, or IMO, has adopted the mandatory requirements for the electronic exchange of information on cargo, crew, and passengers as part of a revised Convention on Facilitation of International Maritime Traffic, or FAL, which aims to harmonize procedures for ships' arrival, stay, and departure from the port. Also, as part of compliance with Republic Act 11032, or the Ease of Doing Business, the Philippine government wishes to establish a unified system for the electronic exchange of information for all port-related transport modes. Thus, the one ticketing system was conceptualized. The proposed one ticketing system is an online application integrating the booking and payment process for bus, ship, and passenger terminal in a single platform. This will serve as a real-time system with single window concept to process all transactions needed by the government, bus, shipping companies, and general public into one single portal. The system hopes to provide convenience and benefits to the user of the port, to get rid of fixers and scalpers, to provide online services, and generally to attain ease of doing business, to provide the user of ports and the passenger a hassle-free experience, and to help institute port process improvement for maritime safety and security. Next slide, please. So the one ticketing system shall initially cover processes for bus and vessel booking of first, passengers taking the bus. So there will be bus plus vessel fare plus PTB fee. And the second class is passengers with motor vehicle. So we will have motor vehicle plus vessel fare plus PTB fee. And thirdly, for passengers only, or vessel fare plus PTB fee. Next slide, please. The one ticketing system is just one of the many government initiatives to introduce digital transformation and reforms in government services. We are now in an era where information and technology are important characteristics of business process and business success. The digital evolution in different industries proved to be an essential component of improvement in processes. Thus, this one ticketing system hopes to provide the following benefits. For the shipping lines, promotion of safety culture in shipping, savings in terms of administrative cost, and third, business-friendly arrangements. For the passengers, the benefits include efficient delivery of ship port services, convenience from booking to vessel boarding, and third, cost savings in time, effort, and money. As for the government, this system will bring about positive impact to trade and commerce and better government services delivered to citizens that will result to upgraded country image in terms of ease of doing business. Next slide, please. Currently, there are shipping lines which offer an online booking with bus booking component, while the others have no available online booking platform yet. Traditionally, passengers, with most of them carrying heavy luggage, tend to converge at the bus or shipping terminals and wait in line to book their tickets without assurance that they will be accommodated. Once tickets are booked successfully, passengers will have to fall in line again for the payment of the PTB fees and security inspection before they can gain access to the passenger terminal and later on to board the vessel. Next slide, please. So seeing the need to improve these related manual processes of booking for bus and ship tickets, as well as payment of terminal fees, the government wishes to implement the one ticketing system, which, as explained earlier, is intended as a real-time system with single window concept to process all transactions needed by government, bus, shipping companies, and general public into one single portal. The system hopes to address uncontrolled queuing at the bus, ship, or PTB terminals through automatic and advance notices for canceled or postponed trips, provide a seamless single payment process for the bus/ship ticket and PTB fee, allow automatic manifest submission for priority berth assignment, as well as to introduce faster vessel clearance. Additionally, the online platform could serve as a tool for better management of vehicle traffic at the ports, considering that interrelated information is relatively or readily available through the system. It could also be a powerful and useful instrument to ensure safe maritime navigation practices, since vessel overloading and overcrowding can be prevented and eventually could resolve complex public problems and complaints. Next slide, please. Okay, public consultation has been conducted through the Port Management Advisory Council, and we have actually 14 PMOs which have conducted this consultation. We have NCR North, Batangas, Mindoro, Palawan, Panay, Guimaras, Western Leyte, Biliran, Bohol, Misamis Occidental or Osamis, Zamboanga del Norte, Zamboanga, Negros Occidental, Agusan, Masbate, Surigao. For the next 2 months, we will continue with the consultation, especially on the details of the design of this one ticketing system. So based on initial feedback from the public consultation conducted, the system shall address disruption, meaning for canceled or suspended trips, delayed departure, arrival, such as caused by accident and others, internet disruption. Again, the system should take care of details of integration of existing online systems of shipping companies, because we know for a fact that there are shipping lines who have already online booking. And the system shall also consider the passenger rights. And there's also a comment on taking care of appropriate mix of vehicles on board the Ro-Ro vessel. So we would also look into that. For the next 2 months, we hope to complete the public consultation, and we hope to come up with the policy which will be presented to the PPA Board of Directors for approval, and then we will go on with the detailed design by consulting service provider and some of you who have existing online booking system. So aside from the key benefits that the government companies and the general public can derive from this one ticketing system, as highlighted earlier, this is also part of the country's compliance with the International Maritime Organization Directive as regards the mandatory requirement for the electronic exchange of information on cargo, crew, and passengers, which aims to harmonize procedures for ships' arrival, stay, and departure from port. As such, we request your full cooperation in this government's initiative for the digital transformation. Only in working together, we can successfully alter and upgrade the port business landscape. So thank you very much and have a pleasant and fruitful day.
Thank you very much, Ms. Javier from the Philippine Ports Authority. Once again, a round of applause, please. Thank you. This time, may we hear from the Philippine Coast Guard for relevant updates on enhancement of search and rescue in MARPOL. To be presented by Commodore Leopoldo G. Panopio, Commander, Coast Guard District NCR, Central Luzon. Sir?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Deputy Commander for Coast Guard District National Capital Region, and I will be presenting the creating the culture of safety people, safety ships, and cleaner environment based on the perspective of the National Capital Region. So my scope of my presentation is as follows, please. Next slide, please. So my scope of my presentation is mission, function, area of responsibility, and recent activities of our Coast Guard District. So for our Coast Guard mission, next slide please, is to promote the safety of life and property at sea and to safeguarding maritime environment and its resources, to enforce all applicable laws within the Coast Guard District National Capital Region maritime jurisdiction, and to conduct maritime security operations and other activities in support of the national development within the area of responsibility. Next slide, please. So these are the functions of the Philippine Coast Guard. It's more on maritime safety, maritime security, environmental protection, maritime law enforcement, and maritime security. Okay, next slide. So the area of responsibilities is to the different 77 coastal municipalities, 467 barangays, 22 domestic ports, 18 international ports, 9 fishing ports, 38 piers, and 267 beaches. Okay, carry on. Okay, next slide, please. So the area is CGS Manila, CGS Pasig, CGS Zambales, Bataan, Cavite, and Laguna Bay area. Okay. Next slide. Next slide, please. So these are the areas which are divided. Next slide, please. So this is the CGS Bataan, which is composing of Morong, Mariveles, Corregidor, and Lamao. Next slide. So this is for the CGS Station Manila. Next slide. So this is indicating or are different substations. Next slide. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, CGS Laguna de Bay, composing of substation Cantona, Alabang, Talim, Calamba, and Pililla. Okay, next slide. Okay, from our recent activities since June 2008 till the present, we have the following. On maritime safety, we have conducted this vessel safety enforcement services, recreational safety, and salvaging. Next slide, please. So, our maritime safety services include Marine Casualty Investigation Service, National Port State Control. This also devises to enforcement of the different international conventions. Vessel Safety Enforcement Unit, Recreational Safety Enforcement Unit, and ACE2 Navigation Services. Next slide. So in maritime safety activities, we have conducted fluvial activities parades on 22 times, and we have responded to grounding incidents twice, and our vessel safety enforcement inspection is 1,174. We also conduct pre-departure inspections on 15,812 vessels, and calibration activities with Marina. Next slide, please. Okay. On lighthouse status, we have 38 out of 44 lighthouses with operational efficiency of 86.36%. So these are the light stations that needs to be given attention. Next slide, please. We have the collaboration with infrastructure offices on the conduct of survey on light stations and rehabilitation and construction. We conduct survey in connection to the proposed installation of buoys in Mariveles, Bataan. Next slide. Okay. So next slide, please. We have conducted vessel safety enforcement inspection on 11 vessels, conducted pre-departure inspection on 16,207 vessels, and conducted port state control inspection on 767, with a total maritime incidents of 9. On salvage operation, we have conducted inspection on Salvor Company in compliance with the implementation of Memorandum Circular 0696, and issued 2 emergency salvage permits. Carry on. Next slide, please. We have formulated PCG guidelines on conducting maritime parades, regattas, and other maritime-related activities for the promotion of safety of life at sea. Assess and monitor conduct of fluvial parades. Next slide. So we also are conducted maritime search and rescues, and these are the images on the different typhoons that have been experienced by the Philippines from June 2018 until the present. Next slide. So these are the data for search and rescue. Search and retrieval. Search and rescue, we have 3. Search and retrieval, we have 63. And 2 typhoons with the total rescue of 131 and 435 assistance. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. So there are 98 illegal fishing activities, 1 on human trafficking, and we have conducted 1 on illegal drugs. Next slide, please. This is the images on the translation done last January. And the Coast Guard has provided the security on on the maritime side of the affair, of the event. Next slide, please. So this is the summary of the maritime security activities from January 2019 until the present. We have the Black Nasirin translation, the harbor security patrols, or canine paneling, sea marshalling, maritime patrol, fluvial parades, and bankathon. We also conducted a Southeast Asia Cooperation Training exercise just recently, last week. Okay. Next slide, please. So this is we conducted several activities during the Southeast Asian Capability Enhancement Exercise. Okay. Next slide. Next slide, please. So this is the image of the vessel that we have boarded. We have conducted safety, security enforcement numbering on the different Coast Guard stations. On CGS Manila, we have 1,500. CGS Pasig, 535. CGS Bataan at 5,020. And CGS Subic, almost 10,000. CGS Cavite, 7,000. And CGS Laguna, 3,100. With a total of 27,135. So, maritime security deployment to augment Manila Police District during the raid on the Baseco compound. This is done in pursuant to the illegal drugs that are present at Baseco compound. Okay, next slide. This is in marine environmental protection. Okay, next slide, please. So we have conducted a total of 82 coastal cleanup, mangrove planting at 10 on the different coastal barangays, vessel maritime pollution inspections to 4,700 vessels, and land-based inspection of 36, maritime pollution at 8, and MARPOL adjudications at 8, and maritime patrol to the different coastal areas to 1,471. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide, please. So this is the mango planting at De La Cuesta Street, Barangay Tangos, Binangonan, Rizal. Next slide, please. Next slide. So this was the different assisted the DOTr Secretary for in providing safety and security during the activity and provided 2 aluminum boats. Okay. Next slide. Okay. Next slide, please. So that's all for the Philippine Coast Guard. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Captain Himutea. Once again, a round of applause, please. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been said that safety is a collective effort. With this in mind, the Maritime Industry Authority spearheaded the series of pre-summit workshops which ensured the participation of our key stakeholders in identifying maritime safety issues and challenges, as well as recommend for strategies or government interventions to address them. To present to us the maritime safety for domestic shipping, may I respectfully call in Engineer Nanetse Villamor Dinopol, Deputy Administrator for Operations of the Maritime Industry Authority.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Maritime Cluster of the Department of Transportation, namely the Philippine Ports Authority, the Philippine Coast Guard, and the Maritime Industry Authority, jointly gathered a significant number of stakeholders in a series of workshops in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao to discuss issues on maritime safety in the domestic shipping, which was attended by about 250 participants, composed of ship owners and operators, shipbuilders and shipyard managers, port users, and port operators representatives. Other government agencies that participated were the Department of Trade and Industry, the Board of Investment, the DILG, and as well as the LGUs. This aims to, first, to identify major maritime safety issues and challenges of the domestic shipping with due regard for the ship's life cycle. To identify major marine environmental protection issues and challenges of the domestic shipping with due regard still for the ship's life cycle. And last is to ensure the participation of key stakeholders in identifying strategies or measures to address these issues or challenges and agree to support the eventual implementation of the objectives. The pre-summit discussions and workshops followed the ship safety process, which has 3 stages. First is the ship acquisition, Next is the ship deployment. And the third phase is the ship retirement. We expect younger ships under the ship acquisition process. And the areas that were discussed were, of course, for the ship acquisition, the first is the importation, the bareboat chartering, and as well as the shipbuilding and local construction. Next of the process is for the ship deployment. We ensure safer ships under the ship deployment process, or the ship's operation and maintenance. The pre-summit discussed on the areas revolving the continuing compliance with the standards on maritime safety and environment protection. Next is the grant of authority to operate of these vessels. Next is the ship's repair and maintenance, and as well as certificated seafarers. In the next process, we anticipate cleaner environment through vessel retirement or replacement. The areas that were discussed is the deletion of the from the ship registry, and as well as ship breaking and ship recycling. Now, on the acquisition of ships, we aim to register younger ships. Again, I'd like to reiterate that, particularly through importation. As of 2018, it shows that there are 114 imported ships. Actually, per our record, there's an average of 145 imported ships imported over 5 years, with an average of 15 years old. Though I'd like to emphasize as well that the ship owners are positively responding on the acquisition of brand new ships. To date, we have more or less 25 brand new ships operating in the domestic trade. Over 103 locally constructed ships as well. It shows that several ships are constructed by our local shipyards. However, on acquiring ships through local construction, the prevailing issue has always been the availability and high cost of construction materials. It also expressed that it is far cheaper to import a second-hand ship than local construction. Therefore, there are two prevailing challenges identified, and these are the high cost of local construction of ships and importation of second-hand ships. On ship deployment, we ensure safer ships, particularly on the enforcement of the National Maritime Safety and Marine Environment Protection Standards. The average number of ships involved in maritime accidents within 3 years from 2016 to 2018 is 70. 48% due to inclement weather, but this includes as well the grounding of ships in some bay and port areas. 38% due to human error, and 14% due to structural or mechanical failure. Would like to emphasize as well that this record covers both the less serious and very serious incidents. We identified several challenges such as, number one, the maritime accidents. Second is the disposal of waste by ships at sea. Inadequate manifesting system, and high cost of fuel, as well as upgrading of competent seafarers for the domestic shipping. While on ship retirement, we want to achieve cleaner seas. Older and substandard ships are primary source of marine pollution and hazard to navigation. As of 2018, there are 1,747 operating steel-hulled ships with an average age of 25 years old over the 4,203 registered steel-hulled ships. 58% of the registered ships are not trading. Hence, we presume either they're laid up or due for scrapping. Challenges such as aging ships, no ship retirement policy, no facility for ship breaking, ship recycling, and no ship breaking and ship recycling policy are pointed out. High cost of local construction is the result of high interest rates offered by some government financial institutions, high cost of raw materials, and taxes on importation. The stakeholders expressed the need for government intervention to provide subsidies and tax incentives to ship owners, shipbuilders, and most of all, addressing the ease of doing business, such as streamlining of processes to support or address the modernization of the domestic shipping. On the importation of second-hand ships, we may consider putting an age cap on ship importation, taking into consideration the capability and capacity of our local shipyards, and impose higher taxes and levies on importation for second-hand ships. With this recommendation, we will be able to develop as well our local shipbuilding industry. Moving on with the next stage of the safety process is the ship deployment. It is expressed to intensify compliance with the National Maritime Safety and Marine Environment Protection rules and regulations by requiring local class to comply with RO code with liabilities. Provide an integrated and advanced state-of-the-art aids to navigation system to enhance safety in our navigational sea lanes. Intensify the search and rescue operations for just-in-time and efficient response to maritime emergency situations, taking into consideration the best practices from major maritime nations. Other substantive measure in the integration of the online booking system with the passenger manifest, as presented earlier by the Philippine Ports Authority. All passenger terminals at ports must be IT ready to easily implement the e-ticketing system. Continuing provision, availability, and maintenance of modern port facilities and services to promote safety and convenience of the public was likewise recommended. The stakeholders expressed the need for government's intervention to provide shipping sector for marine fuel subsidy, particularly in complying with the low sulfur fuel for domestic ships as well as for ship repair and maintenance. Moving on with the last stage of ship safety process is the ship retirement. This is one great challenge that was immediately identified during the pre-summit. Ship operators said that age should not be a basis to retire ships. It has always been the contention that age is not a determinant of safety and seaworthiness. However, normal wear and tear occurs on aging ships, even ship is used competently and with proper maintenance and care. It is expressed that a gradual and progressive ship retirement plan, or we may call it as ship refleeting program, as you all addressing to the ship owners, as you all are also practicing in your business strategies in shipping. In the event of retiring ships, for those had to be decommissioned, the most possible options are to either ship break locally, ship recycle, or to export these ships for scrapping. We need a law on dismantling, scrapping, and recycling of ships, which includes as well attractive incentives that will encourage ship owners and operators to scrap their vessels. But if we're talking about law, well, it will take time also to pass, and the process on coming up with a legislation on this. Next slide, please, for the roadmap. In view of the foregoing, the MARINA has formulated a roadmap on maritime safety in the domestic shipping in support to the continuing modernization program. The following action plan will serve as input to the DOTR's 30-year roadmap for an integrated intermodal transport system. The continuing modernization of the country's domestic fleet would help ensure the safety of life and property at sea, enhance shipping services, and widen economic opportunities. Overarching the roadmap is the strategic programs of the 10-year Maritime Industry Development Plan, or MIDP. We will review existing policies and issue appropriate amendments in order to address various issues and challenges raised in the pre-summit. We will strengthen institutional mechanisms and collaboration between agencies as well as between the government and the private sector. In the next 5 years, with 2019 as reckon year, we're looking at 5 legislations be submitted and enacted, and these are, first, the amendment of the Domestic Shipping Development Act, or the Republic Act 9295, and will highlight on ship financing scheme, marine fuel subsidy, ship retirement policy and monitoring system, imposition of higher taxes on importation of second-hand ships, and among others. Another legislation would be the Shipbuilding and Ship Repair Development Act, which will provide for the 12% VAT exemption on capital equipment for upgrading of shipyards and marine spare parts, raw materials, and components for shipbuilding. The enhancement of dry docking requirements and the provision for the shipyard development funds. Another legislation would be the Protection and Preservation of Marine Environment Act, which will feature reception facilities, sewage and garbage handling of dangerous cargoes, database system, among others. Another would be the Philippine Ship Safety Rules and Regulations, which shall amend the Philippine Merchant Marine Rules and Regulations. This will cover safety of passenger ships, cargo ships, fishing vessels, and recreational boats. It will also provide for the establishment of a data sharing by agencies performing maritime safety functions. The said act will provide for the adoption of relevant IMO instruments as well. Another legislation would be the Shipbreaking and Ship Recycling Development Act, which will provide for the scrap and build policy and a 12% VAT exemption on capital equipment. We have also identified some programs and projects in our roadmap. First is the Cooperation for Low Carbon Sea Transport Project should be established to advance the development of low emission in maritime shipping. We just had our MEPSIS conference for the past 3 days, and we call it green navigation. Meanwhile, to facilitate also the ease of doing business, especially in ship acquisition, the Marina shall establish an e-application and digitalization system for ship certification. Marina shall likewise promote the construction of recreational boats for domestic and foreign market. This is also part of our efforts to replace wooden-hulled recreational boats in tourist destination areas. We also envision to promote cruise tourism in tandem with the Department of Tourism. This is one of our priority programs under the MIDP program too. Under ship deployment, we look at 6 milestones, and these are the Shipping Route Rationalization Program, which will primarily establish the shipping route capacity measurement. Along this line, the Marina shall formulate a policy on the assessment of shipping route capacity nationwide. Campaign program on control and prevention of marine plastic litters from ships shall be undertaken. This is also one of our outputs during our MEPSIS conference, and we call it Glow Litter. The one ticketing system as espoused by the Philippine Ports Authority is also being considered in this roadmap. The development of inland and coastal waterways transport system, which will establish the ferry system transporting people and movement of goods. Critical to this is the issuance of policy on the operationalization of ships in the coastal and inland waterways. This one is an option to skip traffic via land transport. Next is the acquisition of floating assets and infrastructure for search and rescue aids to navigation by the Philippine Coast Guard. The comprehensive insurance coverage for domestic shipping, which intend to cover the passenger, this is existing though, the ship's hull, the cargo, the marine pollution, and fixed floating objects. A policy on comprehensive insurance coverage like a PNI for the domestic ships shall likewise be issued by the Marina. For 2025 to 2039, we look at the following milestones. The implementation of standards on training, certification, and watchkeeping for domestic seafarers, guided by a policy on the implementation of the STCW Convention for the domestic seafarers will be issued. Next is the implementation of the low sulfur fuel oil for domestic ships. Next is the full implementation of ship retirement plan for domestic ships, which covers passenger ships, cargo ships, and later fishing, guided by a policy on ship retirement and replacement for domestic ships. Next is the establishment of the Maritime Industrial Park. We anticipate the acquisition and deployment of autonomous surface ships in the domestic routes. By then, we are able to formulate and implement the maritime autonomous surface ships rules and regulations, maybe on year 50. By 2040 to 2050, the implementation of which will be jointly monitored by the MARINA under relevant agencies in the maritime sector. Again, that ends my presentation, and thank you for your attention. Good morning again to everyone.
Thank you very much. Again, please, a warm of applause for the Deputy Administrator, Engineer Nanette Seydinopol. For the meantime, we would like to acknowledge the presence of all the attendees who have exerted the efforts to be with us today in spite of their busy schedule. Ladies and gentlemen, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to acknowledge the presence of Secretary Arthur P. Tugade from the Department of Transportation. Good morning, sir. A warm of applause, please. Good morning, sir. Good morning po. At this moment, may we call the OIC Administrator of Marina Vice Admiral Narciso A. Vingson Jr. to introduce our keynote speaker. Sir.
I have the honor of introducing the man of the hour, a man of action, a steward of public service, done of pure love for our country. He envisions a Philippine transportation system that is safe, efficient, and modernized. Indeed, with him on board, we are looking for a better and stronger Philippine transportation in the years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our Secretary of Transportation, Secretary Arthur P. Tugade.
Maraming salamat ho. Bubula-bulahin lang ako dyan. Sayang pa oras. Saka talagang sinasagad nyo to. Hindi man ako pakapihin doon. Pinatawag agad ako dito para magsalita. Nakakapi na kayo? Hindi pa? Why don't we have 5 minutes? Magkape-kape muna tayo. Anyway, pag tinignan ko yung programa, 11 o'clock pa yata ako magsasalita. Minadali ng mga organizer na magsalita ako ngayon para hindi ko mapakinggan yung pag-uusapan. So gusto na nila pagkatapos ko magsalita, punta na ako sa isang appointment ko. Meron pa ako isang appointment sa TESDA. Pag hindi ko sinipot yan, si Sid La Peña, baka magtampo. Kaya naglalagara-gari ako. So anyway, I am happy. I am in a playful mood. I'm very comfortable because I'm all with you today. For the record, why am I say I'm comfortable with you today? Because once upon a time, your business, Paul, was my kind of business. The activities which we are doing now, you are doing now, once upon a time was also my kind of activity. And so it excites me to be with you, to chat and to dialogue with you. And it is precisely for this reason that I made it a point not to prepare any written speech. I came here because I wanted to dialogue and chat with you. I came here because I want to speak with you and dialogue with you from the bottom of my heart. If I prepare a written speech, I will be guided by the written speech. And because I don't have a written speech, I'll be guided but what I feel is tama or correct, but what I feel should be done. Today, immediately, I congratulate the organizers of a forum like this, because the topic is security, safety in domestic shipping. Napakaganda hong topic yan, lalo't higit. Kung babagtasin natin yung mga nakaraang araw, nakaraang linggo, nakaraang buwan, na kung saan nagkaroon ng mga tinatawag na drama on the high seas. Nagkaroon ng collision, nagkaroon ng allision, nagkaroon ng paglubog ng mga sasakyan na kung saan nagkaroon tayo ng mga taong nagsimatay. Nagkaroon lately ng isang umusok at nasunog na sasakyan in the open seas just barely 2 days ago. The handwriting is on the wall. Because of these incidents and incidents that has happened in the past, there is now an imperative for us to look closely and very closely at that to the topic of safety on the high seas. Ano ba ang dapat gawin natin nang sa gayon? Yung mga nakaraang kalungkutan na dinanas natin sa aksidente na ayaw naman natin maganap ay hindi na maulit at hindi na mauulit sa baybayin ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Kaya nga ba today I come to you with a handful of reminders relating itself to what has happened in the past and relating itself to what we should do in the future so that what has happened in the past will never happen again. Why? Because incidents like this make you cry. Believe me. I had the experience of visiting Guimaras after the incident happened. I visited Iloilo, and I tell you, myself and my persona cried and bleed for the people that were the survivors of death of those who passed away. Masakit, masalimuot, at madamdamin. And I want to share with you certain things which has motivated and behooved me to tell you what should be done in order that there can be no repeat and there should be no repeat of what is happening in the past. So that the time will come when we put a cap, sasabihin natin, after 1 year or after 1.5 years, the incidents that were should never, ever happen again. And so we talk of safety sa domestic shipping. Let me just do a recollection of the things I will remember as I stand before you today. Para lang magkaroon tayo ng safety, sir, ayaw ko na ho ng wooden hull. Na kung saan yung safety ng tao sa wooden hull ay depende lang sa katig na nakakabit sa kaliwa at sa kanan. Na kung saan, kung pumalya ka sa safety sa katig ng kaliwa at kanan, aksidente at aksidente ang mangyayari. Kaya nga ba siguro, nandoon na upang bigyan tugon at pansin natin yung ipagbawal na yung wooden hull. Kasi kung dumating ang unos o bagyo, mitya ng buhayan. dapat pag-aralan natin at magkasundo-sundo tayo na magkaroon ng programa upang ma-phase out na yung tinatawag natin na wooden hull. Of course, there will be exceptions to it. Yung sa mangingisda, baka gawin kong longer yan. Kasi yung sakay ay hindi naman publiko. Ang sakay yung crew ay yung mangingisda at yung mga napangisdaan. Dapat ho, itigil na yung wooden hull. And make this a resolve today to make your gathering today meaningful. Observe on what I'm going to say, so that if we can together absorb all the things we want to do, then we can say, your time today and my time today is not wasted. Because we want to put a real in-depth meaning of what we term security and safety. Itigil na ho yung wooden hull. Alam nyo, sabi ko sa wooden hull, nung pina-implement ko kasi nagmakaawa sila, na pwede bang ituloy yung wooden hull? Sabi ko, sige, itutuloy natin pero subject to certain conditions. Number one, kung pinapayagan kong lumayag yung wooden hull, hindi ibig sabihin, I will kowtow or I will backtrack to my desire to do away with wooden hull. Hindi ho. Pwedeng gamitin yung wooden hull upang sa ganun masakyan ng mga mananakay sa panahon na tahimik at kalmado yung tubig, walang bagyo. Sabi ko, sige ituloy yung wooden hull, pero dapat yung katig at tarpaulin dapat nakababa. Pakat nasabi sa akin ng ating mga expert na yung katig at tarpaulin ay naapek yung balance at napakita sa aksidente, sa insidente sa Guimaras at Iloilo na yung mga nakandamatay, karamihan ho yun ay nabalot at hindi nakatakas pagkat nabaksakan ng tarpa or nabalot sa tarpa or tarpaulin. Dapat itigil yan. Ang sabi ho nila, paano naman mainit? Ako naman, simple. Ma'am, ano gusto mo, ma'am? Mapawisan ka sa ibabaw ng tarpaulin o lulutang-lutang ka na sa dagat pagkatapos ng aksidente? Mamili ho kayo. Dapat huwag. So, yun ho yun. Alam mo, I will share with you. Dinalaw ko ho sa Guimaras, isang kabaong, pangatlong kabaong yata yun. Nakausap ko yung isang survivor. Ando doon ka, Jay, kasama kita. Pati ikaw, Vice Admiral. Sa kalungkutan ng isang ama, habang ako'y nakikidalamhati sa kanyang sinapit, pagkatapos ho nung tinanong ko, Sir, ano ho yung pabaon nyo sa akin na aral sa na-aksidenteng ito? Sinabi niya in very clear and unequivocal Tagalog word, Sir, itigil mo na yung mga wooden hull. Nagkamatay-matay na noong nakaraan, 15, madami na naman namatay ngayon. Ilan pa ho ang gusto nyong mamatay upang itigil na yung wooden hull? Ito ho, survivor ng isang biktima na kung saan araw-araw na lumalayag yan. Magumpisa sa Iloilo papuntang Guimaras. At sabi niya, itigil na yung wooden hull. Narinig ko at naramdaman ko yung pait ng kanyang damdamin. At sabi ko right there and there, tinawag ko si Vice Admiral at tinawag ko si Jay. Hindi ba putang ina? Sinabi ko na noong 2016, nung nag-assume tayo, itigil na yung wooden hull. Bakit hindi na i-implement yan? Ilan pang gusto nyo mamatay? Kaya nga ho, yan ang feeling ko dyan. Itigil na po natin yan. Ano yung papalit? Yung mga mananakay, maglagay ho tayo ng roro. Roro. Okay? Yung mga dapat ginagamit na natin kung hindi fiberglass, aluminum, magtayo tayo ng roro. But what is the reality in saying let us use roro? What is the reality, Paul? The reality is, hindi naman dadaong yung roro kung walang pagdadaungan. Yung mga puerto natin, hindi naman conducive sa roro. Kaya nga ba't nangangailangan din, sabi ko sa PPA, repasuhin yung listahan ng mga puerto at nang sa ganon, maging RORO-friendly yung mga puerto. Kailangan repasuhin natin lahat yung mga daungan at puerto pagkat katawa-tawa ang Pilipinas bilang isang arkipelago. Alam niyo ba sa aking pagdalaw, nakakita ako ng mga hindi lang uka-ukang puerto, hindi lang mga sira-sirang puerto, nakakita rin ako ng isang estado na kung saan ito yung puerto, ito yung sasakyan, nandito yung alon. Alam niyo ba ang nangyayari dyan? Kailangan magpantay yung alon doon sa kwan para tatalon ka. Putang ina. And that has been there for years. Why? Why? Because we took the lives of people and we take the lives of our countrymen for granted. Dapat matigil na yan. Kailangan dito sa seminar na ito, dito sa forum na ito, magkasundo tayo na yung mga puerto ay dapat repasuhin, reviewin nang sa ganon. Ma-address natin, hindi lang ho yung safety, but also the comfort of the riding public. Biro mo naman, para ka makasakay, pasirko-sirko ka dyan. Kung malaglag ka doon at madami daw ang nalalaglag sa tubig. Alam naman nila yun, bakit tuloy-tuloy pa? Hindi ba dapat lang itigil na natin yan? Repasuhin natin at bigyan tugon at pansin natin yung tinatawag na insurance. Yung mga insurance nung mga sumisira nung mga kwan, anong tawag doon? Embankment ba yun, Paul? Hindi, yung ganyan, ganyan yung alam mo eh. You know? Yung nagbabangga, you know? Hindi ba, Paul? Pag nabangga yan, aalis na lang. After several months, sira-sira na yan. Dapat, kung sino yung bumangga, dapat may liability yun, dapat may insurance yun. Pag-aralan din natin yung insurance ng mga pasahero. Yung mga tinatawag na, fortuitous event, acts of God. Sabi sa akin nung ako'y umikot doon, Sir, paano na yan? Hirap kami. Buti nga, may pamahalan tayo na tumutulong sa wake, funeral wake. Dapat aralin natin yung insurance nang sa ganun, naka-assure yung mga insure and secure yung mga riding public. So, ito yung mga tinitignan ko. Natutuwa ako at nakita ko sa programa, Jay, I like your idea. Na napag-usapan namin ito ni Jay, na naka-agenda ngayon, e-ticketing. Ang isang issue ho sa safety dyan, yung tinatawagan dito yung mga Coast Guard, yung overbooking, overloading. Pag naumpisa yung e-ticketing, hindi man masolusyonan ng kabuuan, masusolusyonan yan kahit parte. At least yung overloading can be addressed. Nag-usap kami ni Jay. Jay, kailan may implement yan? Kaninang umaga ho, bago ako pumunta, sabi ko, Jay, magsasalita ako doon pag naalala ko yon. Kailan may implement yan? Ang sabi po ni Jay Santiago, share before the end of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, now gathered here, we are going to implement that, the e-ticketing, before the end of this year. Today, I come also for the reason to ask you and to plead you to support that project of e-ticketing. Together, let's all implement that. In order ma-address yung solusyon na overloading, yung mga unwanted. So these are the things which we have to address. As we have to address the issue of equipment, yung wooden hull, wala na, aluminum or fiberglass. As we have to address overloading through e-ticketing, huwag naman natin kaligtaan, ang kailangan din yung disiplina. Alam mo, maski anong gawin natin, improvement sa facility, improvement sa equipment, kung walang disiplina sa paggamit ng equipment, kung walang disiplina sa paggamit ng mga puerto at daungan, malapit ang panahon at dadating ang panahon at hindi malayo na masisira lahat yan. Dapat magkaroon ng disiplina na pangalagaan natin yan habang ginagamit. And I would like to have a training program, an education program, a disciplining program so that we achieve that culture of safety in the open seas, security in the open seas. Sana lang, huwag tayong mag-isip ng security pag may aksidente. Sana lang, huwag tayong mag-isip kung anong gagawin sa safety kung may namatay. I want safety and security to be a matter of discipline, a day-to-day culture insofar as maritime is concerned, insofar as all the transportation sector of this republic is concerned. We must always be, and we must always have that culture of safety and security. And therefore, on whatever we do, in terms of equipment, in terms of structure, kailangan may training yan, may pagtatanim ng kultura yan, upang sa ganon, manatiling safety tayo at we care for each other. A lot of things has to be done. And I appreciate you for coming over because it shows that you are interested. Alam nyo, nung sinasabi kong, Jay, aluminum, fiberglass, roro, dalawang direksyon ho ang tinutulak ko sa PPA, sa Marina at sa Coast Guard. Ang sabi ko, magkaroon tayo ng medium-term program at long-term program nang sa ganon. Bigyan buhay natin yung shipbuilding business dito sa Republika. Kasi pagkakaroon ka ng shipbuilding business, yung pag-import ng mga kagamitan galing sa abroad, baka marahil pwede nang gawin yan. Kaya nga ba't sinasabi ko, kung meron tayong shipbuilding business, you don't only generate employment, you don't only generate businesses there, but you help assure the supply of equipments like RORO in order that our obsession and our advocacy of safety can be achieved because the equipments that there are, pwede na hong gawin dito. Kaya nga ba't sinasabi ko na in addition to shipbuilding, magkaroon tayo dapat ng pasilidad na kung saan magkakaroon ng tinatawag na putting up leisure crafts. Alam mo yung leisure crafts? Yung speedboat, yung mga kwan. Archipelago ito eh. Ba't hindi natin gawin yan? And then I will encourage also putting up leisure craft centers, yung parang marina. Mapapaaya mo yung turismo, pero magkakaroon ka ng mobility at convenience sa pamabiyahe na yan. Addressin nyo lang ang dalawang bagay. Una, the issue of security because of terrorism and unlawfulness and lawlessness. At addressin nyo na bakang gamitin yan para sa droga. Ma-achieve nyo yan. I am all with you in strengthening and developing the construction and having centers for the construction of leisure vessels. Sana ho, magkasundo-sundo tayo dito. Today we are all gathered here because we in government accept the reality that we in government cannot do this alone without the cooperation of all of you in private business. Dapat, ngayong araw na to, manatiling magkapit-bisig tayo at sabihin, magsasama-sama tayo upang sa ganon, ma-maintain yung security. Ngayon patapos na, saka ka nagbigay. Kanina pa ako ubo ng ubo dito. Anyway, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you. Sandali lang, It shows the acceptance of one reality that we alone in government cannot achieve what we want applicable to national interests without the support, cooperation, and oneness of the private business. Today, I hope The two gatherings will give the realization and accept the realization that we will work in partnership for the safety of our domestic shipping. Hindi lang ho domestic shipping, lahat na gumagamit ng ating mga open seas, ng ating mga karagatan. And so, I tell you, the government will continue to do many things, not only in making sure we are also modernizing Philippine Coast Guard, hindi ba, partner? In addition to the safety. Mabibilis na yung mga kwan nyo ngayon, yung mga sasakyan nyo. Tama ba? Tangina mo kang hindi dati pinag-iiwanan kayo ng abusayap. Ngayon, minsan nga, sinumosobrahan nyo ng abusayap. Lumagpas kayo, nakalimutan nyo yung abusayap, babalik pa kayo dito. So we are addressing this. We are putting lighthouses. Lighthouses, alam nyo ba, nung nag-assume kami, karamihan ho ng mga lighthouses, hindi operable. Naging tourism attraction lang o kung pasilidad na kung anong mga ginagawa ng mga tao sa tuktok ng lighthouse. Ngayon ho ang inyong pamahalaan ay aayusin lahat at committed kami na bago matapos ang termino ng ating Pangulo ay matatapos lahat yung mga lighthouse yan upang maging operable. Nang sa ganon, it can add to its safety mission of providing safety in the open seas. Kasi ho, ang lighthouses are navigational tools. Kung hindi mo ayusin yan, saan mapupunta yung navigational tools? Kung ano na lang ang ginagawa sa lighthouse. Dapat yan, aristuhin lahat yan. So, these are the things that are done. Your government is not sleeping. Sobrang dami lang ho talaga ng problema. Sobrang dami lang. We want to address it all as much as we could. But the problems that were created in the past is so much and so many and so gargantuan that it cannot be done overnight, that it cannot be done by the government alone. We need you. We need you, and together we must work for the safety in the open seas. Today I come to you with this message. All of you sacrifice your own time by coming here and hopefully listening and deliberating what can be done and what should be done in order that we achieve safety in domestic shipping. Let's all make it worthwhile, not only for the time we spend coming here, but more importantly, for the time of the future generation, so that the accidents that has been happening in the past, that is a product or a produce of negligence and wanton neglect, at dapat mabawasan kung di mawala na lahat. Today I come to you, perhaps I joke, but believe you me, I am very serious with the message I communicate, as you are very serious in your objective of coming here today. Sana ho, we make a resolve. We don't take only of our pocket in making sure that our activities and businesses are profitable. We also take and think about the riding public, so that from the place of departure to the place of destination, all of them become comfortable and arrive in safe. Today, I'm grateful for the opportunity. I congratulate you for organizing an activity like this. But I hope, like in any other worthwhile activities, magkaroon ho ng matamis at magandang bunga ito para sa kapakanan ng bayan, sa kapakanan ng mga mananakay, sa kapakanan ng gumagamit ng ating karagatan. Let safety not be a matter of convention, symposium, or fora. Safety should be a matter, a day-to-day matter, a matter of concern, a matter of attitude, a matter of culture and advocacy. To you all, good morning.
Thank you very much, Secretary Tugade, for being an inspiration, not only with your words, much more with your action. We are very grateful to have you with us, sir. Once again, a round of applause for the Secretary of Transportation. Ladies and gentlemen, to capture this momentous occasion, may we request everyone to please approach the stage. Dito po, para po sa photo ops po natin. You may gather in the, here, wait lang pa. Or you may take your seats na po muna. Perhaps we can pause for a little break, for some coffee break po. Sige po.